This is an unreasonably huge haul, so whoopsie dipsy. Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I have another haul for you. I watched a video by MissOrchidGirl very recently where she showed her birthday haul and she got quite a few different Paphiopedilums, and I've had one single Paphiopedilum, the Paphiopedilum modiae iricolor. I got it to bloom twice now. The first bloom it had was really boring, faded after 5 days, but now it's been in bloom for several weeks and I'm really excited. So I really want to get some more Paphiopedilums actually. And on top of that, you know, when you order from Schwerter, I always get also some young Cattleyas, kind of seedling-ish size, and also a few Tolumnias. So yeah, let's get into the package, which is sitting right here. So I have my scissors. Is it in? I don't think so. Okay, the package is open. So the first plant I have here is Tolumnia Red Spread. And if Schwerter provides any pictures of the flowers of these plants, I will show them here as well. And if the name suggests, this one is, you know, just like a red flowering Tolumnia. I really like Tolumnias and I participated in a care collab about them very recently. I'll just link the video here. Check that one out. Whenever I show Tolumnias, I do get a few questions. So a lot of that information is in there, and if you have more questions, just leave them and I'll definitely get back to you. Right now I have, I think, like 5 Tolumnias in spike. There are kind of 2 different seasons for Tolumnia. So we have kind of the fall-winter blooming ones and then the spring-summer blooming ones. I'm not 100% sure what background they have and kind of what determines it, but this is kind of what I observed. I have kind of 2 groups of Tolumnias. And then I have the species Tolumnias that just don't bloom yet for me. So let's see if those will ever do anything. So this is a very cute little plant, and as you can see, they just deliver it in these little basket pots. We have a new growth that's maturing here on the side and quite a few nice roots. So I will pot this one up in just my normal bark mix for them and just kind of hang it on the wall in a little pot, and then we'll see how long this is going to take to bloom, but it seems like it's a very well-grown, very happy plant. So next up, this is a second Tolumnia Red Spread. I got one for a friend of mine as well. And also I know that my friends are very impatient when it comes to plants. So if there's a size difference in these, I will give them the bigger one, just so they have higher chances of blooming them sooner than later. So these ones are the 2 Tolumnia Red Spread, and you can see they're very similar in size. That's really exciting. Let's see how they develop. Well-grown, very happy plant, so that's nice. Tolumnia Red Spread. So this one is Tolumnia Big Bang. I ordered, I think, 4 different Tolumnias, or like 4 different hybrids of Tolumnias in this order. So I'm really excited. I want to bulk up my collection of Tolumnias a little bit, just because I like them and they're very colorful. They are very easy under my conditions, and I can just have them on the wall and they add a lot of color, vibrancy, and their flowers last forever. So it's really nice to have them around while I'm waiting for all of these Cattleyas to grow up. Wow, this is really beautiful. Can you see the roots on this one are really green, fresh, and beautiful. So I think this one is going to be really happy in my environment because it's just a very healthy plant. It is always a little annoying when they grow in these basket pots to get them out there, because you always damage the roots and then the plants go into a little bit of a shock state. But you know what? That's just what they have to go through, because I can't cultivate them in these pots. They would just dry off immediately under my conditions. And then we have now the last Tolumnia. This is Tolumnia Girac Firm Super Brown. It's a cute little spotted one, and I really like those as well. As I said, Tolumnias are a great addition to any collection. Just make sure you give them a lot of light and they will do really well for you. So the roots on this one are not as good as the last one, but the plant is much bigger and I expect it to push out roots very quickly. These complex Tolumnia hybrids are extremely vigorous and they usually bounce back really quickly from setbacks. So yes, let's see how this one is going to do. I'm going to look here for 2 Tolumnia spots. I bought one for me and one for a friend of mine. Let's just have a look. So these are the 2 little Tolumnia spots. I really like Tolumnias from Schwerter because so far I've always had really good experience with them. They are very fast growing and vigorous, and you can see there's a lot of root material on these, so that's great. Really excited for these ones. The Tolumnia Red Spread, you can see they are very similar in size. This one is a little bigger than these 2 are the Tolumnia Spot. Both of them are smaller than either of the Red Spread, but I feel like this plant here, this one is a little bigger, so my friend is going to receive the 2 larger plants, and I hope they'll enjoy their new home. I also bought another plant for my friend, and let me just look for this one so I can show you right away. That took a while to dig for it. So this is the BSN, not 100% sure what that means. Maikai Louise. I think this is a clone. It's a named clone. It says, has an AM from the American Orchid Society. This is a complex Cattleya hybrid, so very obviously not something that I would be interested in anyways. However, my friend really liked it, so I got it for her. So let's have a look. I want to say this is like a Brasso Cattleya, but I'm not sure what the SN stands for. So I'm really uninitiated with the more complex intergeneric hybrids. I feel like there's a lot of variety out there that I'm just completely ignorant about, so don't come for me in the comments. But if you know what BSN stands for, let me know. Okay, so this one looks like it has bloomed before. You can see, so this is definitely a blooming size orchid. So there are quite a few bifoliate growths here. Not 100% sure. This comes in Schwerter's infamous packed sphagnum moss setup, which this is going to get repotted as soon as possible. I really don't like this setup for plants under my conditions, and as you can see, I don't want to squeeze it too much, but it's pretty moist still. We have a new growth coming here. The roots look pretty good though, so this should be fine. My friend has, I want to say a Brassavola nodosa, not 100% sure, or a cuculata, either one of those. So I guess she has some experience with kind of basic Cattleya care.
That's death. That's death. 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 It's all death.
So I hope that this hybrid is going to be very vigorous under her care. I'm just checking if there's a sheath or something. I'm not 100% sure. I don't think so. But yeah, so this is the Maikai Louise. And yeah, we'll see how it does. I'm just like, oh, stay away. Ew. Next up, there's a lot in here, and I think I want to get the Cattleya types out first, because I mean, even though the order happened mainly for the Paphiopedilums, I'm really excited for the Cattleya types, because have we met? So let's continue with the Cattleya types, because I'm really excited for those. This one is Cattleya manticari? Not sure. So I think this used to be a Sophronitis. It's, if I'm not completely mistaken, it's a pinkish one. I decided I want to give Sophronitis another try. I have the Sophronitis brevibidoculata, and I used to have, I never know, I think it was the Aquensis. I'll leave some text here if I'm wrong. And the Aquensis just withered off during the summer. This really did not enjoy the heat that we receive in the summer. But I really want to give them another try, and then I got the Cattleya manticari. Zo wistful uit deze. And yeah, so let's see. This is a beautiful handwritten tag. I wish my handwriting looked like this. I would feel so elegant and like $1 million. But we do euros here, so it's probably gonna be 800 euros. That is a huge pot. I expected this to be a very small plant. Let's see. Oh. Okay, let's have a... Ooh! Oh, okay, now I get it. Why they sent it in a big pot. Because it's a little bare-rooted plant. It has quite a few roots that are viable, others not so much. And kind of maturing growth. I feel like... So I don't really know this species. I'd have to look it up, but usually Sophronitis are pretty tiny, right? So is this already mature? I'd have to look up on their website what they say. But yeah, this one I think would also go into a tiny pot, you know, like this, boom, and then I'll hang it on the wall and save a lot of space. Pro tip. So next up we have, this is a bigger one. This is Cattleya iricolor. I have to tell you, Cattleya iricolor is one of those plants that I've been eyeing for a very, very long time. I saw it on Carsten's channel, so this is Aleman Tropical. He talked about the care and he showed the plant and I was like, this is beautiful. And then also Karen from Karen's Orchids, she showed it and I was like, I need to get it. But I didn't want to get a big plant, but instead I went for kind of a seedling-ish size one. So Schwerter sells these young plants in 6 centimeter pots, and I think this is ideal for me right now because then I can just have it with the other young plants in my little orchid nursery setup. And yeah, then we'll see how long it's going to take to bloom. According to the communication I had with Carsten in his comment section, Cattleya iricolor is very similar care-wise to Dowiana. So since my Dowiana has been doing pretty well, it produced 3 growths this year, which I'm extremely proud of. I think the iricolor should be really approachable for me as well. I purchased the Dowiana from Schwerter as well, so let's see. Okay, there we go. This is a very young plant with several new growths. I don't know if you can see this very easily, but we have one that's maturing here and then 2 more on this side. So this seems to be an extremely vigorous plant. We have roots coming out on the bottom here. I'm really excited to have this one. They claim this is kind of 3 years away from blooming size. Let's see. I mean, I don't really purchase these plants expecting them to bloom anytime soon. This is more of a long-term investment for me, but for sure, having several growths on a young plant like this is a very, very good sign. Next up, I already spotted it. It's a Cattleya trianae. I really want to get into Cattleya trianae as well. It's kind of one of these really classic big Cattleyas, and I've never received one. After visiting Tolumnia though, where they have this humongous Cattleya trianae, I really thought that I should give it a try. I got 2 different color forms, one of which is a tipo and the other one is a rubra. There you go. This is the Cattleya trianae tipo, and I think in very classic Schwerter fashion, these are, I see at least 3 plants in here. So this is the beauty of ordering young plants from them, because you always get several, and as you can see, yes, it's indeed 3 different plants. All of their growths seem to be bifoliate, which I guess is not such a big deal. Sometimes, according to Stephen and Campin Lewis, sometimes the younger growths can have the tendency to produce 2 leaves. But yeah, so I think this one would be a really nice addition to my collection of Cattleya species. And I think as kind of a collector, this was a must-have for me. And then next up is the rubra. I think this is a named clone. It says trianae and a standard variant Sangro de Toro. And I guess Sangro would be blood. Toro, I'm not sure. And let's have a look what it is. I'm not sure if it's a named clone or if it's really like a color variant. Sometimes the color variants have weird names. Like I know we have Laelia purpurata bergheuseri, which I guess under different circumstances would be, I guess, a cerulean. So I'm not 100% sure with the nomenclature there. I guess I could do some research, but you know what? Research is literally my job, so why do it as a hobby as well? This is a very beautiful plant. You can see very plump pseudobulbs and a new growth coming here. We have roots. I'm not 100% sure. Maybe these are also several plants. Let's have a look. This is very pot bound. I don't want to screw up the plant too much. I'll just see later. But I would say there are several plants in this. So that's very, very exciting. And I can't wait to see how this one is going to develop. Then I was talking about Laelia purpurata just there. I feel like there is no order for me where I don't get a Laelia purpurata color variant. And this time it's the purpurata Millonaria. And unfortunately I couldn't really find any pictures of the flowers anywhere, but let's see, it's going to be a surprise. Should it ever grow to blooming size, we'll see what color it has. Okay, this one is already a somewhat bigger plant. As you can see, we have really nice growth, and as all of my other purpuratas, this one is also in the process of maturing a new growth. Again, we have some bifoliate pseudobulbs. I guess that's fine at that age. You know, teenagers, they go crazy, and this is basically also an orchid teenager. So let's see. I'm really excited for the color of these blooms. I wasn't able to find them online, so this makes it even more exciting for me. So, and then, you know, speaking of Laelia purpurata and how I always order one, this time it's not just one, I ordered 2 different Laelia purpuratas. The next one I got is a striata. No, wait, I shouldn't pronounce it like this. It's a striata. I don't know, I always read Laelia purpurata striata, which I guess if it was actually Portuguese, it would be striata. But whatever, right? I'm just a gringo, so what do I know? And this one is really interesting because so far I've been mainly focusing on different colors of the lip. And this one is the first one, I think, except for the sanguinea that I have, where also the petals and sepals have a different color than the tipo variant. I'm really happy with what my Laelia purpuratas are doing these days because, as I mentioned, all of them are producing a new growth right now, and I feel like they're all kind of settling into my conditions. The first one I got is a tipo, I presume. It's been doing really well, and I also received some iricolors earlier this year, and they have been struggling a little bit, but 2 out of 3 of the plants that I received survived, and they're producing new growth now as well in roots. So I'm really hopeful that at some point I'm going to have some blooms from them. There you go. This is a very cute plant. It's already a little bigger than some of the other ones I received today. This looks like it has been repotted very recently into this setup, so I'm probably not going to move it. So unfortunately, this is, I think, the newest growth that has been a little squished. Guess that it was a little stuck in the previous pot, and so it couldn't really fully unfold, but that's no issue. I think it's going to do really well under my care, and then we'll see how it's going to continue with its life. So this is the Laelia purpurata striata. Okay, next up, let's see what else I got. So this is the Cattleyas percivaliana, and it's the color variant atropurpurea. So usually in these variant names, atro means dark. So this would be a very dark purple Cattleya percivaliana. I bought one in a recent haul from Asendorfer Orchideen, and initially I thought it's not going to do really well, but now it's really pushed out a lot of new roots. I'm really excited to see what this color variant would look like because, again, I didn't really find a lot of images online. And since it's a very young plant, I think it's going to be fine for a few years, just with the other seedlings. So again, I think these are several plants. I see at least 3 or 4. I'm really excited to see what this plant is going to look like when it blooms. But so Schwerter claims this is going to be 3 years from now. I think it's probably going to take a little longer. So yeah, we have one plant here. It's kind of the main one, but there are several. As you can see, there are several more in this pot. And it's always good, right? If you get these young plants, they might just die like this because they don't have a lot of storage organs yet. Actually, this has happened to me several times where just the young seedlings, they just wither off. So it's good to have a backup. And I think it's nice of them to include several plants in these pots, even though they probably don't do it out of the goodness of their heart, but because it's easier to have a bunch of plants in one pot rather than separating them. But whatever, right? Quid pro quo. Then this is another Sophronitis, it's the Wittigiana, and it says the synonym for it is rosea. So yeah, let's see. This is kind of rosy, as the name would suggest, Sophronitis, and I assume this is again potted in a similar way as the other one was, with a bigger pot around it, because I don't really have space for big plants. So what's it say? Okay, so this one is either already older than the other one, or it just has a very different growth pattern. Because if we compare it to the Mantikiri, right, they're very, very different in just their habits. Let's see, I'm really excited. I love a shiny plump pseudobulb. The roots don't seem too amazing on this one, but also the media seems really old already. So I think I'm going to have to repot this, and hopefully I can manage to save this root. That would be really nice. I didn't do too much research on these plants and their care. I'm just gonna treat them like any other Cattleya, and if they hate it, then girl, you know. So, and then finally, coming to the Paphiopedilums, which were the original reason for this whole haul, I had a whole wish list lined up as well, which is why I got all of these other plants too. But, you know, let's get to the Paphiopedilums. First up is the Paphiopedilum delenatii. I'm really excited to get this one because allegedly, supposedly, it's meant to be a fragrant Paphiopedilum, which is pretty rare. According to orchidspecies.com, it's supposed to smell like honey and citrus. So that sounds really interesting. And then there's another one. I'm not 100% sure. I forget the name right now. I'll insert the name here. I'm just blanking right now. But that's supposed to smell of raspberries and apples. So that's really interesting. Well, I don't want to say hate, but I'm not a big fan of the flowers on that one. I would really like to smell the flowers, and that usually means you have to get it yourself. Anyways, back to the delenatii. I've seen quite a few videos on this one because there had been a care collab on it, I think this year. And I'll link to those videos. And yeah, so I'm really excited to see how this Paphiopedilum is going to do under my care. Oh, and we are going to have to go on a rescue mission here, because as you can see, I hope you can actually see it, there's a root kind of a little up there. In my experience, aerial roots on Paphiopedilums are really bad. They usually die off, so I really want to save this one. And I'm not 100% sure. I don't want to jinx it, but I feel like there might be a flower spike in between these leaves. I'll show you a close-up of it, but it doesn't look like a new leaf necessarily, maybe? I'm not sure, because it seems a little hairy, and on the Paphiopedilum I have, that's what the flower spikes look like. Let's see. It would be really cool to have it come into bloom very soon. Let's see. Just gonna put some of the media that I spilled here around this root to keep it. And then my phone died. Ugh. So, yeah, I don't know. My phone is getting a little old and sometimes it just crashes. There was enough space on it. It was fully charged, but still in the middle of recording, it just decided not to go on anymore. And yeah, it's like a week later. And yeah, I'm just filming the rest of the unboxing now. The plants are still sitting here. They've been in quarantine for this time now. Obviously, I took care of them perfectly. I don't neglect plants and just let them sit on the table for a week. That would be horrible. Oh, and also, don't mind the Tolumnias. They're just soaking there in fertilizer solution. I used to fertilize them with every watering by just spraying very dilute fertilizer on them, but it's just a little bit too much work. So nowadays I just water them once or twice a week with just RO water, and once a month I will just soak them in more concentrated fertilizer, and it's been working pretty well. And we have a few spikes on them. Actually, I can show you in another video. But anyways, back to the haul. There were actually only 2 more plants to go, and yeah, let's just have a look at them. So this is another Paphiopedilum. This is Paphiopedilum venustum. I really wanted this plant because the flowers seemed really interesting, and as you can see, this one already has a flower spike developing, so that's really nice. These have really nice spots and kind of a beautiful color gradient on them. I love that. And don't tell anyone, but I ordered the album variant of this. So yeah, I really like this, and let's see if I can manage to keep this. This has pretty good roots, I think, but I will still pot it up because in my experience, the substrate that Schwerter uses for them, it's just not water retentive enough, so they kind of dry out under my conditions pretty easily. And the thing is, I'm also going to be gone for a week now. I'm leaving for work, so I don't want them to die. Then, last but not least, we have this one. This is Paphiopedilum tonsum. I got this because it's a really tiny plant, and it looked really interesting because the flower almost looked like it's golden. I really enjoyed that. So yeah, it's a tiny one, and I think it's really nice to have compact plants because then you can have more of them, right? And then I also wanted to mention, this is not from Schwerter, but they're fertilizers. So I usually use the Schwerter fertilizer for all of my plants. And then recently I got this one. This is Calmac. I got this because Nina from Ninja's Orchids, she uses this. And I wanted to get this as well because I felt like some of my plants may need a little bit more, especially calcium, because the fertilizer, Schwerter fertilizer, does not contain any calcium, and I've been mixing just some tap water into my kind of watering mix to supply the calcium, because the water here is really hard. It has a lot of calcium carbonate, but I'm not 100% sure how bioavailable that is, and so on and so on. So I just went for this one because Nina has really good results with it, and actually I'm trying it out on the Tolumnias right now. Maybe I should have used it on only one plant, but yeah, right now all of the Tolumnias are soaking in kind of a mix of these both. I just use the normal amount of the Schwerter fertilizer that I always use, and then I just added whatever they recommend of the Calmac. This resulted in kind of a high TDS rating, but whatever, right? They'll have to get through this, and we'll see. So yeah, thanks a lot for watching. Sorry that this video turned into a bit of a mess, but yeah, I'll talk to you later. Boom. I mean, then again, maybe let's start with this one. There's nothing written on it, so let's just open it and see what it is. Yeah, these are pots. I ordered some pots from them as well, just so I can pot up these little ones and have them mounted. There you go. Bitsy gypsy. Let's cut this out. Ooh. Anyway. Okay, so now I get why they send it in the big... Girl, what are you doing here? Don't mess with me. The Laelia purpurata striata. This is the Laelia purpurata striata. Striata. We're an English-speaking channel. It's striata.